Good morning, everybody. Thanks for logging on and listening to the presentation on Tesoro Resources and our El Zorro Gold Project in Chile. My name's Zeph Reeves. I'm the Managing Director of Tesoro. This opening slide here shows the area at our Ternera deposit in Chile, which is part of the El Zorro project. So you can see the ridge in the foreground here, which is got tracks and drill pads and so on over it. There's a drill rig down in the bottom left-hand corner here, but essentially this ridge at Ternera is the outcropping ore body. It extends back under these hills to the southeast and to the northwest, and we're currently drilling there 24/7 at the moment, and plan to be doing so through to well into the next quarter next year. So as you can see, it's fairly easily accessible, no vegetation, very low rainfall and modest topography for Chile. So just quickly on Tesoro, I'll probably brush over a few of these slides reasonably quickly due to the limited time frame, but the project's located about 800 kilometres north of Santiago. Chile is obviously a tier 1 geological endowment, it's the world's major copper producer, very well-defined mining rules and regulations. And the El Zorro project's an emerging major gold deposit in Chile. We're really focused on progressing this project through to development. We've done a significant amount of drilling to date, aiming to have a maiden resource out sometime next year. And we're quite focused on that at the moment, drilling 24/7 and with a strong board and management team managing the company and taking things through that development phase. So we're currently in the middle of a 20,000 metre drill program, and that program has been expanded a number of times simply because the deposit that we're drilling continues to expand along with our drilling. So just a slide on what has been achieved since Tesoro was listed in February 2020. We've, on average, spent about 87% of our funds go into the ground through directly into exploration, majority of that spent on drilling, of course. And our average cost per metre is around 225 Australian dollars per metre of HQ core drilled. That's everything covered, so all of our geo support, all of our facilities in country and assays, the whole work. So very cost effective exploration and very efficient use of capital. So since we've been listed, we've drilled 45 diamond holes. We've actually drilled 70 holes into the deposit so far, but since being listed, we've achieved just under 12,000 metres. Every single hole that we've got results for to date has returned zones of significant gold mineralisation, and since we've been drilling at the beginning of the year, the Ternera mineralised footprint has tripled in size. We've also completed a geophysics survey, induced polarisation. We've discovered a large chargeability anomaly which correlates very well with gold mineralisation. We've been able to effectively use that to further expand the mineralised footprint at Ternera. We've also completed some initial metallurgy indicating that the ore is free milling, and I think one of the most important points is we've expanded our ground position to over 540 square kilometres now, so we're now a regionally dominant concession holder, and as far as I know, we're the only company in Chile looking for this style of deposit, so it's quite unusual for Chile, this style, and we think we know what the ingredients of to find more of the same. So there's a graph there showing the share price performance since listing. Obviously, the company's attracted a very good reception in the ASX market with some very exciting and big drill intercepts announced. Obviously, fairly constant news flow with a lot of exploration work having been completed and still ongoing. Current cash is approximately 5 million Australian dollars. So just quickly on this slide, Tesoro owns 70% of El Zorro, has the ability to earn up to 80% by delivering a feasibility study by 2022, and that last 20% of the project is subject to a contribute or dilute mechanism. So one of the major advantages of the El Zorro project is its location. So So we're not in the high Andes, we're on the coast, which has got huge advantages and great access to infrastructure. So the red polygons there are our concession holdings, with the Ternera deposit where we've been focusing our exploration efforts, the yellow diamond there. So Ternera is only about 10 kilometres inland from the Pan American Highway, which runs the length of Chile, 10 kilometres from the Pacific Ocean, which we envisage will be a source of processing water for any future mining operations. We're only 20 kilometres from a power line, which we've had initial investigations on, that does have capacity and potential for us to hook into that for any future mine. And we're only 57 kilometres away from the port of Caldera. So that's where all of our field facilities are set up, office, courtyard, and so on. And our team stays there, and it's literally a 45-minute drive up to the project each day for them. So fantastic location to operate and develop a gold mine. We've got the airport 76 kilometres south. It's an hour's flight from Santiago to the Atacama airport, and then a simple drive out to the project. And the major city in the region is Copiapó. You can think of that as a very large Kalgoorlie. So that has all your mining support services and workforce there. So assay laboratories, drill contractors, mining contractors, and obviously quite a well-skilled mining workforce with a number of large mines and major mining companies based in Copiapó. So we think that the El Zorro project, the gold deposit there at Ternera, is an intrusive related gold deposit, and the analogues to that are in the Tintina province, such as Brewery Creek, Donlin Creek, Fort Knox, and Pogo. So very unusual for Chile. There's a unique set of geological ingredients required to form those deposits, and we think that we've got a major commercial advantage there looking for these in the belt, and hence the reason we've expanded from an initial 10,000 hectares out to that 540 square kilometres of concession holdings now along what we think is prospective strike. So this map shows Ternera. As I said, we've drilled 70 holes to date. We've received results for 45 of those holes. All of them have intercepted strong gold mineralisation. Some of them are quite phenomenal drill intercepts, with 9 of those holes returning over 100 gram metre gold intercepts. So on this map, what you're seeing is the location of the drill holes colour-coded to their gram metre intercept. You see this cluster of the pink colours here are the 100 gram metre intercepts. And what we're finding is there's this large, higher grade or more continuous zone of gold mineralisation emerging, as outlined by that red shape over that map. But essentially, in terms of geology, what you're seeing is a series of intrusive rocks which are trending north-northeast across this map. And they've been cross-cut by a series of northwest trending faults. Those faults have caused a lot of deformation and damage into those host rocks, and basically allowed the infiltration of gold-bearing fluids. And around each of those fault zones, there's a lot of damage and causing sheeted veining. And then once we come close to the gold, to each of those fault zones, we see a lot more quartz veining and brecciation and so on. And you'll see that reflected in the drill results. So, for example, hole 12, 58 metres at 1.7 grams. Over a wide intercept, but there was a number of high grade intercepts within that as that drill hole passed through the sheeted veining complex, sitting in that lower grade halo, if you like, and then through one of the northwest structures, the grade kicks up, and we see some quite phenomenal grades in some of these, and then back out into the lower grade sheeted vein complex. So in this zone, what we're seeing is the damage zone from each of these faults is overlapping and causing continuous mineralisation between each of these faults. So you're looking at quite a large scale there. That scale bar in the bottom left is 100 metres. And we're seeing some quite promising looking material coming out of our holes drilled here to the south. And one of the reasons we've headed south is that the geophysics that we've done, the IP survey, has had a very strong correlation between this well mineralised zone and the chargeability anomaly on the induced polarisation map. So we've stepped further south, and each of these holes has hit what we would term to be well mineralised material. We haven't got assays back on those yet, but we're seeing the right types of things that we like to see in the core that indicate that the material would be mineralised. And we're seeing that strong correlation with the IP. So that's really opened our eyes to, I guess, the district a bit more. And we're seeing extensions well to the north of Tenera and also to the south. And we're currently expanding this IP grid to the south further and also to the north. But what we suspect is that the mineralisation continues to the north here into an area that we call Drone Hill. So at the moment, we're fairly focused on drilling this area out in the main zone, and some of these other structures are looking quite well mineralised as well, and we'll add additional ounces. And we're in the middle of that 20,000 metre drill program, but we're also stepping out significantly to the south and to the north here, where we've already picked up a few mineralised hits. So again, this Tenera deposit is mineralised from surface. We've defined mineralisation there over greater than 1,500 metres of strike now. It's up to 100 metres thick. We've drilled it down to 300 metres. It's open in all directions. So the more drilling we do, the bigger this is getting. Hence the constant expansion of our drill programs and pushing out when we may be able to calculate a maiden resource. So as I mentioned, those fault zones have got a strong control over gold mineralisation. Both of these sections, so the one on the left is a long section looking northwest with all of our drilling projected onto it. You can see the grades clustering around these faults, but you can also see grade spills out between faults where that deformation is really well developed and as it has broken the rock open essentially to allow that gold to flood in. And so what we're seeing is that larger, lower grade halo starting to emerge with these higher grade lodes getting quite well developed within them. So the section on the right there was shown on the map on slide 7, the position of that section. And it's fairly typical of what we're seeing. So hole 49 had this very broad intersection of 111 metres at 1.25, and this is in that higher grade zone correlating well with the IP through this part of the deposit, with a higher grade zone of 50 at 2.04 as we're going through and close to these faults. So the team's done a fantastic job in identifying where those fault zones are, and we can see them at the surface. Where we sample them at surface, they're well mineralised. So now we're systematically going through infill drilling around each of those fault zones to get it ready for resource estimation, as well as the extensional and step out drilling to try and find the edges of this deposit, which we have not yet done. So just from a district scale, that photo on the left, you can see where Tenera is. It's this ridge that's sticking out of the ground here, about 60 to 70 metres above that valley floor. Essentially, that entire ridge is mineralised. We've discovered a major vein system to the south of Tenera, controlled by the same structures at Torre Gordo. We now suspect that the mineralisation from Tenera is continuous across to Drone Hill. We're yet to drill test that, but a lot of our surface sampling has come back quite positive, and we can see that correlating well with the geophysics also. And we've also got another target in the south here called Buzzard. But essentially, you're looking at a mineralised system so far where we've sampled at surface outcropping gold mineralisation over about a 5 kilometre strike length, with Tenera sitting in the middle of it. So we're starting to see a number of these targets develop, and we'll continue to work on those and work them up over the coming year to determine whether they warrant drilling or not.
To your final slide.
So just a quick slide on metallurgy. We've done the initial met work, and the indications are really good so far. Looks like the material's free milling, up to 99% recovery and a high proportion reporting to the gravity circuit. nothing untoward in the mill, in the ore, and we would envisage that this would have a fairly conventional pathway for gold recovery and extraction. So a few other things going on in the background. Obviously, we're looking at getting this through development as quickly as possible. We have potential access to a power line 20 kilometres to the south. We potential use of seawater for processing, so we're working through that at the moment. This photo shows the access road from the coast back into Tenera.